Hello. I'll be refuting the claim that the legal drinking age of 21 causes illegal underage drinking. Okay, my opponent claims that underage drinkers consume alcohol without proper supervision, drinkers do not have enough knowledge to responsibly handle alcohol, and in the United States we treat alcohol as a forbidden fruit, making it more desirable. My responses to these are, allowing teenagers to drink would only create more drunk drivers and raise car accidents and deaths among people. And the prefrontal cortex is a decision-making part of the brain and is usually fully developed in most people in their early 20s. In the United States, we treat children as early as possible of the harmful effects of drinking, for example, SRC, which was required for our course graduation, and therefore making it legal for students 18 and over would just be going against this fact. Okay, I'm going to start with some history of the 18 and 21 age group. Okay, believe it or not, FDR, Franklin D. Roosevelt, was the man who approved the lowering the minimum age for drinking for the military draft from 21 years old to 18 during World War II. People were understanding that 18-year-old men were mature enough to fight, but not old enough to vote. So in 1971, the states ratified the 26th Amendment, which lowered the voting age to 18. Legislators started applying the same logic to drinking. The drinking age, which the 21st Amendment made the responsibility of individual states, started dropping around the country. Soon it became clear about the rise in alcohol-related traffic fatalities among 18 to 20-year-old drivers in areas where the drinking age had been lowered. So the result of leading states in charge of their own age was the creation of blood borders between the states that allowed 18-year-olds to drink and those that didn't. Teenagers from the restrictive states would drive into the ones that they could buy booze and drink and then drive home, which created accidents in different states. So that being said, going back to my first claim that allowing teenagers to drink would only create more drunk drivers and raise car accidents and deaths among people. Reports show by the National Traffic Highway Administration that raise the drinking age policy saves around 900 lives a year. Traffic reports show a 62% decrease in alcohol deaths among teenagers since 1982. Raw numbers show that drunken driving deaths have definitely dropped since the early 1980s, despite an 88% increase in the number of miles driven. And in 2007, saw over 8,000 fewer total alcohol-related traffic deaths than in 1982. So statistics show that states that previously lowered the drinking age to 18, such as Massachusetts, Michigan, and Maine, experienced an increase in alcohol-related crashes among the 18 to 20 age group. My opponent stated that 32% of underage compared to 24% of legal age are heavy drinkers. Therefore, we shouldn't allow teenagers to start drinking, for they are not fully responsible yet. The scientific evidence is clear. Lowering the legal age to purchase and consume alcohol to 18 would increase the number of 18 to 20-year-olds killed or injured in motor vehicle crashes. Experience with driver education suggests that drinking education wouldn't counteract this effect. One implication of driver education experience is that exposing students to drinking education would increase the number of drinking. Receiving a license to drink could cause teens and some parents to conclude that the school thinks that teens will drink safely. That's not the path for reducing teenage drinking. It's a proven formula for increasing the number of teens dead. So the age shouldn't be lowered. And then going back to my claim that the prefrontal cortex is a decision-making part of the brain and is usually fully developed in most people in their early 20s. Teenagers are known to be irresponsible and to do crazy things. They don't know what's best for themselves sometimes. There would be more violence and crime if the alcohol age limit was lower. Kids would be bring it into schools. They might turn to alcohol to solve their problems. This could lead to a rise in alcoholism. If kids started drinking at an early age, they could become alcoholics and die at a younger age. Also, the young experience of alcohol leads to further curiosity, which leads to wanting to try drugs as well. The concept of a person becoming a full adult at age 21 dates back in centuries from far back into like the nighttime, like someone becoming a knight. Since a person was an official adult at age 21, it seems like it would make sense for them to drink then too. My opponent stated that in 2005, federal government's national survey on drug use and alcohol, 85% of 20-year-old Americans reported that they had used alcohol. Teens that drink alcohol have a higher chance of academic failure. Allowing teenagers to drink will negatively affect more students' academic performance. Okay, third claim, teaching students in school about the negative effects of alcohol. Okay, so scare tactics are used in schools by showing gruesome videos of the results of drinking and driving. This has an effect on a teenager's choice to drive under the influence. Therefore, we shouldn't allow them to drink. It would just be counteracting what we're trying to teach them. In conclusion, I hope I have convinced you of the hazardous complications of lowering the legal drinking age. Thank you.
All right, I thought you started off pretty well with the organizational structure, and then you've got this general counterclaim about what the increased risks are, and then you start getting to the individual points that the advocate brought up. You kind of give us this historical background, and that's all useful, but what's particularly important is that you utilize that information to demonstrate why lowering the drinking age would have those negative consequences, and why we know that that's true, not just based on what's happened since the minimum legal drinking age went into effect in the mid-'80s, but what happened prior to that. In other words, we have multiple experiences leading to the same conclusion. This is not some inference that's been taken just from the argument that happened since 1985, but it happened before that as well, and so that's why the laws were enacted in the first place. I think that's the whole value of that history lesson, and you need to emphasize that a little bit more. You laid out good data on the traffic deaths issue, and that was okay. When you got to the issue, though, about the heavy drinking use, and the advocate says that, you know, we've got a higher percentage of heavy drinkers in the lower age categories than in the higher age categories. You mostly don't say anything about that argument, except that the education programs are not going to work. You've got the education programs in two different places, and I'm not sure if you've got separate reasons why they're not going to work, but it just seemed a little strange that they are not unified, and that they get broken up like that. On the issue of maturity, I think you do a good job explaining the basic concept here, but you need some proof that the MLDA is actually keeping the amount of consumption down below for teenagers or people under the age of 21, because if it's not, all these things are going to occur anyway, and you don't really have any unique harm that's going on there. All right, thank you.